back. I've not posted for ages, so I thought my first trip out after 9 weeks of being stuck at university, studying away, I thought I'd come for a little open match, and I thought, why not just film it, stick it on YouTube, hopefully give you a little insight of what this venue can hold. So at the Oaks Lakes in Sesse today, stunning venue. This is actually called the Oak Lake, I think it's called. Full of roach and hide. The last time I was on here it was absolutely freezing cold. It's just one of the lakes which is going to be in on the Silvers Open match today. So I thought I'd have a little walk around before the draw, show you a few pegs, and then hopefully go and draw a flyer. So yeah, this is a Silvers Open match. There'll probably be like 20-25 people on today, so it'll be a good little turnout. These lakes are full of roach, hide. The Alders Lake, Thirsk Lake and Oaks Lake, which is this one, is full of roach and hide, and then the big lake, which is Willows, is more skimmers and roach, not so many hide, which is like a specie lake, where these are like more the pleasure fishing lakes. But one thing that works really well on this lake is fishing for roach down these edges, because they're really deep, so if you can throw casters and maggots down the sides, I know that can work well. But to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a simple approach on most of these lakes. Long pole with maggots, just loose feeding, and fishing really light strung out rigs. Might feed a little bit of ground bait, milled expander, something like that, see where we draw. Hopefully it'll be nice, simple, just nice light rigs, don't need any complicated setup, and we'll just catch plenty of fish on the drop, feeding with a catapult. Really nice fishing when it's good on here. Adam Richards and a few other lads have been doing really well here. Kaylee Smith, they've given me some good information, so thanks to them to start with. They've been catching like 40-50 pound weight, so I'm really excited. Hopefully it fishes well. I know it's been a little bit colder recently, so that's going to knock it on its head slightly, but fingers crossed we still catch a few. This might be a nice draw today. Peg 3 on Oaks, off the back of the wind. You're going to be able to fish long, nice and easily, nice and comfortable. Nice light rigs, but what we'll do, we'll walk around and show you Thirsk Lake, then we'll wander to Alders and do the draw. This is the Thirsk Lake. A little bit more windy here, but hopefully if you drew this end you'd have it off your back. Again, this has got plenty of skimmers in, but loads of hide and roach. Long pole with maggots. Tends to work on here, just loose feeding, fish a little bit of ground bait, where you throw some bait short. Could catch in the edges here too, just depends. I've not been on here, so I'm literally just going to make it up as I go along, try a few different things out, hopefully show that you don't need to do too much prep for a little day's commercial silverfish fishing. Usually you get some bites. F1 fishing can be a little bit hit and miss at this time of year, as we all know. So I thought for the first time out, come and do some silverfish hunting. So let's wander along to Alders Lake, and I'll show you what's to see on there. So this is us looking down Alders Lake. It's like a long snake lake, but it's fairly wide. It ranges from 14 to sort of 20 metres wide in places. The best areas tend to be the middle of the islands, especially on this bank here that I'm looking down now. Sort of peg 12 to 18, that middle section. I drew peg 3 the last time I came here. Quite a few, it wasn't brilliant, but certainly down there, that's where I'd want to be if I was on this lake, middle of there. There should be just mostly good pegs in today, so hopefully we can draw the best of what's in there. Right, so we have drawn, and I think we've drawn a good peg. We've drawn peg 1 on the Oaks Lake, which is what we walked around earlier, but on the other bank this time. And I think we're here. I'm hoping so. Yeah, this is peg 1. So, a look at the peg. I think there'll be 4 of us on this lake. The wind is hopefully going to miss me here. I think it's going to be off my back a little bit. It's coming down this end of the lake. But I think the plan of attack is going to be maybe throw some maggots down there towards that platform, throw some casters short, and just fish one line slightly towards the open water that way with maggots, loose feed, and then just feed one line for skimmers that way with a few micros in it and a little bit more ground bait, and just fish that one a little bit more patient. But hopefully we should get plenty of bites on here. I think you could be fishing for 40-50 pound. So what we'll do is we will go and get the gear, and fingers crossed we empty it, and I'll catch up with you once I've set up. I'll talk you through a little bit about that bait. Not going to waste time doing all the ground bait and stuff like that. I'll just show you what I've got, and then hopefully we'll catch a few fish. So stay tuned and we'll hopefully pack up. Right, well, we're a little bit late to get set up there, but we're ready. I'll talk you through the bait as we go, and maybe give you a little show after. But I think what I'm going to do is just kick off the main line I'm going to be firing loose fed maggots at with a little large gooey pot of ground bait. Get my catapult and just fire a few maggots over the top. Just down's it now. Yeah, just a few minutes late, nothing to be worried about. And then while I wait for that, I'm going to put ground bait with a little few micros in to my right hand line. And keep potting a bit more ground bait over here. And the aim is catching a few more skimmers if I need to, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think what I'll do is just put another one in with a few casters in. I've not actually seen anyone catch fish on this lake yet, but hopefully it's going to be good. Not been here for ages, looking forward to it. First time out in 9 weeks, but hopefully we catch a few. I think Tom will ban me from the fishery if I put this on YouTube and I don't catch. Right, so I'm going to start on my main line where I'm going to feed. I've got a few rigs, a few different swims marked on this top kit. I'm going to start off and double maggot. Flick the rig past, and then I'm going to just fire a few maggots over the top. My aim is just to build this line up and hopefully catch quite steady on it throughout the day. I've got a few lines plumbed up. I've got this as my main loose feeding line, and then I've also got a line at 14 metres to the island, and the line at 30 metres to my right where I've fed that ground bait like I mentioned. I'm going to throw casters in short around there just to prime it up for later on. No bites, and flick my rig past. The thing is, we're going to have a bit of an issue with leaves here, so try and avoid the leaves and flick my rig in. This rain could be a bit annoying. Well, that took a little bit longer than anticipated. Just just had 2 eyed in 2 chucks. It took probably 25 minutes to get some fish in the peg. I'm hoping that'll be me starting to catch, because the lad opposite has been catching fish from the off, basically short. But I don't know what it is, but it just took me a little bit longer to start getting bites. But I just kept loose feeding, and now I've had 2 and 2 chucks, so hopefully it keeps going under. Just sort of feeding 10-15 maggots every chuck. And then preparing the catapult with a few more in, so when I hook one I can fire some more over the top. I'm having a big issue with leaves at the moment, which isn't good. I can't really lay my rig in as much as I want. I'd much prefer to be constantly flicking my rig in and past, but it's just not possible. With all the leaves, you just catch up on the leaves, so you kind of have to just get your rig in and then be patient. Look for little gaps in the leaves where you can see. I've just hooked one there. It's just a case of trying to not get frustrated with it. Can be a bit annoying, but I'm gonna have to fish through it really. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just hoping the wind gets up throughout the day and pushes them over the other side. But until then, I'm just gonna have to live with it, unfortunately. Oh, you're still here. Great, you must be enjoying it. Well, keep watching, because there's plenty more to come where that came from. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe, because there's loads more just like this coming in the new year. Right, so do a little update now. We are an hour and 45 minutes into the match, and despite a very slow start, frustratingly, because I wasn't on the right method for one, and two, the leaves were really painful earlier, but they're starting to disperse a little bit, which is helpful. Just got to try and make hay while the sun shines, well, or when we don't have leaves in the peg. I've got 23 like decent sort of eyed or roach, and then I've got a few bits and bobs mixed in as well. I'm just fishing like shallow now, like sort of 2 foot deep with a little 4x8 float. There's another one. Just constantly flicking my rig past my feed and just feeding maggots over the top. I started off trying to catch on the bottom because it was difficult, and I couldn't really flick my rig in enough to, you know, to catch the fish, because you need to be constantly flicking the rig in. When there was no space to flick it because of all the leaves, it's frustrating. But now they've moved a bit, I can keep flicking my rig in. But I'm just fishing a maggot and a pinky, or double maggot, double red on this time. I caught a few fish to the island, just shipping 40 metres that way and potting a bit of bait, and then I tried shallow there, and because I caught a few there, I just tried it on this line. It was miles better. So I'm literally just shipping out. There you go, I've got another one. If I can catch like this, I'll put a brilliant weight together. Just gotta hope they keep coming. I know this is how they've been catching, so I don't know why I didn't try it earlier. But I feel like I didn't really have much option. They're like nice eye, they're sort of 6 ounces. Hook bait's alright, I'll leave them on. But I'm getting a bite punch every chuck in now, which is really nice, really enjoying it. I'll just talk you through. So ship out, flick it roll past where I'm fishing, past the leaves, pick up my catty, pick a few maggots up, fire them in around the float, and I can manage that. And then there's one on, and then just ship them back. And if you can get into a little routine like that, it won't take long to put a big weight together. There's a right mix of sizes, some big roach, some big hide. Not really had many big ones, that's sort of the average stamp. But I think if I can catch 100 fish, I'll be quite happy with that, to be honest. I think I need 120, 130 fish to frame. I spoke to Adam Richards, he said he had about 120 the other day for his weight. So I think that's still manageable. I've still got 3.5 hours left. Not more than that. So I think if you catch at this pace, it won't take too long to put that many fish together. But you've got to sort of expect some quiet spells, which I think that'll happen. See that? I just caught up on a leaf. Just be mindful for that. It'll go straight away now, I think, because it's got through. There you go. Oh, just pulled out of that one. Feed some maggots just to get them back in your peg. And there you go. Tangles come out. Oh, and I've got a leaf. Oh, there we go. I've just got a bit of an area in front of me, 2 metres by 2 metres. I'm just trying to fish in wherever the leaves aren't. It's not ideal, but you can't be super accurate when you can't fish in the same spot every time. But no, I'm really enjoying it. If this rain stays low, I'll be even happier. Like I said earlier, single fives slip just through a short kit. Using my new Ventus 700 pole today. I've used it throughout summer, but it's nice to give it another run out. Nice one. An absolutely awesome bit of kit. I'm excited for it to go on the market. I'm not sure when they're going to be out, but it certainly won't be long. They're going to be really popular as well. Super stiff, as you can probably see from today. Really easy to smoothly ship in and out. Just an all-round brilliant piece of kit.
A few moments later.
I'll do a little update. The camera's playing up. We're around halfway through the match now. How long are we in? No, 2 hours in, sorry. Still catching on this long shallow line. Just like we were before, firing maggots. I feel like this is what it's going to be for most of the day. It's just a case of trying to hit as many bites as you can, just keep laying your rig in. Firing maggots over the top. Just putting your rig into gaps where you can. And then we'll just plug it away, basically. I'd say I'm doing pretty well in this lake now. I think the lad opposite me had a really good head start on me. But I'm hoping I'm sort of catching him up now. Obviously I've no idea what the other lakes are fishing like. I feel like I've got a lot of catching up to do if I want to frame in the match. But it's certainly doable if I can keep fish coming. I need to catch a bit faster than this mine, but these little hide are just buggers for hitting them. And I'm trying to I don't really want to short my lash down, because I feel like I'm catching shallow. I don't want to be fishing with a short lash in winter when the water's clear. I'm just going to try shallowing up a little touch to see. It's worth playing around with the depth when you're catching shallow, even at this time of year. especially if you start missing a few bites in a row. It's definitely worth shallowing up. So I just thought I'd rest that line and drop on that line over there, which I've been priming. I just hooked an eyed first chuck, but it took quite a while to get that bite, so I think I'm going to just deepen up a touch again. I feel like that was a bit too shallow. Right, so we've got an hour and a half of the match left, and it's not been quite as good as it hoped. Probably I've got maybe 70 odd fish, something like that, but they're not all big ones, they're not all eyed. The eyed seem to drift away or stop feeding since the first sort of part of the match. The good news is the leaves have started to blow towards that corner to my right, which is a good thing, so I can actually present my bait now at least, but it's just not consistent really. The lad to my left is catching eyed, and the lad opposite me is also catching eyed, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it must be something, whether I've not got my feeding right or whether it's just a case of this in them certain areas. But early on I was catching more eyed, and now the only thing I can catch is roach and an odd one, an odd eyed mixed in. But I don't know how it's fished on the other lakes, but I imagine the other lakes will have fished better than this. See, they're not a bad stamp of roach, but just you need one of them every chuck in really. Like 4.5, 5 ounces. I can't work out whether it's better feeding through a pot or feeding with a catty, but I'm just trying to try feeding just through a pot to start with, and then use the catapult if I can't get a bite off that initial feed. I've kept tapping up with ground bait every now and again, just in case there's the chance of catching a skimmer, because that'll be a big bonus today, a couple of big skimmers. I'm also feeding maggots towards that island to my left at sort of 14 metres. So I've been rotating this and that. They've been the two main lines. There's too many leaves to my right to catch on that line, so I've sort of abandoned that. Hopefully that little change might have just worked. Just had like an eyed or two eyed and a decent roach in 3 chucks, and I've basically just completely cut out the catapult in, and I'm just putting like 20 maggots in my medium guru pot and just tapping them all in and just fishing on the bottom and being a little bit more patient. I don't know if it's time of day, it's got a little bit warmer, or if that's better to do that, but hopefully we can get everyone a fish now. Just trying to emulate what others around me are doing. I mean, the lad to my left and opposite, they're both just potted all day, they're not cattied, but I know that I've caught a lot of fish shallow early and I needed the catty to do that, and that's what's been working, catching shallow. But maybe being a little bit harder, potting it would have been just nice and tidy, could have been better. Early on though, I couldn't really catch on the bottom, so maybe that's because I was cattying all my bait. Just a case of being a little bit patient, and hopefully we'll get a decent fish. If I can get them eyed back again, I'll be happy. It'd be nice to finish with a run of them the last hour. If I can catch 20 decent fish last hour, put me a decent weight together. There you go, that's another decent fish as well, I think. So hopefully that might be a better way of doing it, just a bit more patient. Not big, not massive, but not the small fish that I was getting earlier. Just fishing a red and a white maggot. Fill my little pot up. Just got the lid with the little hole in, just so they don't bounce out on the way, so I can ship out nice and quickly. Flick my rig past, bait in, and then just hope for one to pull it on the drop like that. It's so much nicer now these leaves have cleared. There's loads in that corner. Maybe we'll do a little round off before my GoPro dies, just for the end of the match. I'm now fishing 14 metres to the island to my left, just tapping in maggots. It's gone really cold, my hands are freezing, but I'm starting to put a few better roach in the net by just being a bit more patient, not trying to set the world alight. I think at the start I was anticipating a bigger day than it was actually going to be, but I reckon I've still probably got, I don't even know what to be fair. What the hell? Got a leaf. Probably got £20 maybe, something like that, I'd hope maybe. I don't really have a clue, to be honest with you. You never really know with silvers, depends what they weigh, especially when you've not been out for a while. I'd say £20-ish, something like that would be nice. Maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. I think the lakes that we're on will only be section winners. I don't think there'll be any framers on these lakes today. But hopefully we'll keep putting a few fish in the net before the end. Double maggot on the hook. I'm just fishing a 4x10's winter maggie, and we've strung out number 10s down the line, just with like a strung bulk, a tapered bulk, sorry. So the shots are further apart close to the hook, just to give it a bit of a slow fall. Right, so the match is finished. I'll give a little overview for the weigh-in. I've lifted my net out, I've probably got £30. You have to excuse that loud noise in the background, there's a plane flying over the top. It's been a nice day, it's been freezing cold towards the end with the rain on my hands, but I've really enjoyed it, to be fair. I've had more than I thought. I think I've probably got somewhere between 25 and 35. I honestly can't really tell when lifting my net out, but I've had a good day silverfish fishing, loads of eyed, loads of roach. Not as many eyed as I thought. I think they've just been knocked off a little bit with the cold, but made a few mistakes. I think I should have potted a bit more, been a bit more patient, rather than trying to force it with a catty, but you live and learn. I'll just show you the rigs I've got. So these are little short kits, the little Ventus ones which go with the new pole, which will be coming out shortly, but use it today, absolutely phenomenal. I've just got single 5 slip elastic through there. The main rig I've used is this one. So these are just 3 different swims. That was my short line, that was my in front line, which is my main feeding line, and then that was towards the island at the left. So there's 3 different depths. Before we cut off there, that's the 3 different depths. Nice light float, that's a 4x10. The RW, sorry. 1 mil hot solid bristle, and then just a carbon stem, something nice and light. That's my little kinder pot. Yeah. Little kinder pot, just with a little bit of tape round, stop the maggots crawling out. I was just sort of half filling that and tapping them in every go. That was quite good late on. Couple of number 10 back shots, you can see that there, and that was probably the best rig. I did have a rig, the other rig that I caught quite well on was this rig, a little shallow rig. That's a 4x8 float, just strung out number 11s down the rig, and then I've just fished with 18s, 18 F1 maggots hooks, brilliant hooks. But yeah, dead simple really. 18 F1 maggots, 010. I used the N gauge, the 010 N gauge stuff, which is brilliant. Never lets me down. Not got broke today or anything like that. Nice and strong. You could probably go a bit lighter, like an 08, especially once it gets a bit colder. I think I will. So I've just got 010 to an 18s. Nice big couple of maggots on there. Then 015 mainline. I just fished with number 10s on the bigger rigs, and on the light shallow rig I put number 11s on it. But dead simple really. That's the rigs. Bait was dead easy. Some maggots. Just got some mixed ones, a few fluors in there, some casters that I threw short but they were useless. Some pellets, they're just fishery pellets. I fed them on the right hand line over there for skimmers, but that did not come, the plan did not come together. And then I got some ground, but that's just some milled expander from Dynamite Baits with some of the fish, silverfish mix in it. But we'll get weighed in and then I'll update you how we do. So we are back home now. Sadly the light just completely disappeared on us, and I thought it would be better just to do a little roundup once we got home. Thankfully we managed to pick up some money overall, so I'm really chuffed about that. Ended up with 60 quid, which paid for the day. Ended up second in the match with £32.13, as you can see there, and then the winner, well done to Mark, with £54 from oldest 12. Really in-form area at the time. Them eyed were just really on the feed in that area. That little wide section of Alders where it widens up, them eyed just ball up there once it's when it's still mild, but it's sort of like going into that time of year, November, December time. But really enjoyed the day in the end. Caught a lot more than I thought. Obviously £32. I didn't think I had quite that much, but it was clear them little roach and eye that we were catching, they were a bit bigger than you think. Big stamp fish. When you're catching all day, I must have had 120 fish or something. When you're just constantly putting them in the net, you don't feel like you're catching much, but we ended up with a decent net of fish. So really pleased with that result. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed a few, and have a very good Christmas, and I will see you on the bank very shortly. Tight lines.